You should think of the word depressed as deep rest. Your body needs to be depressed. It needs deep rest from the character that you've been trying to play.
Even personalities who bring joy and laughter to our lives experience depression and have their own stories of overcoming it. Today, we will explore the life of Jim Carrey and learn from his experiences and how he continually chooses to move forward and overcome his depression. Though his methods may be unconventional, his words and his life contain wisdom that we could learn from. Here is the woke life of Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey is from Ontario, Canada, and was born on the 17th of January, 1962. He and his siblings were raised in a Catholic household. Down the line of his childhood, Carrey admitted that his family went through tough times when his father lost his job. They became homeless and were forced to live in a van as they struggled financially. Jim and his brother John even worked as janitors at a tire factory to help their family. Having gone through such hardships, Jim experienced the cruelty of life early on. Shocking as it may sound, that is the reality the young Jim Carrey had to face. The optimistic and funny Jim Carrey that we all know and love went through his fair share of struggles, including a battle with depression and tough childhood. Finishing school was also not an option for Jim because he dropped out of school on his 16th birthday. But through encouragement from his father and family, he began his career in comedy in downtown Toronto while continuing to work at the tire factory. We all know how this wonderful story continues. It is a known fact that Jim Carrey experienced depression, but one thing we can admire him for is how, despite his struggle with depression, he was able to bring to life characters that made us forget our own sadness and problems. His naturally strong character enabled him to have a career that revolved around making people happy while at the same time battling depression. He is such a great actor and comedian who was able to perfect his craft of bringing joy to the masses. His depression did not get in the way of his passion. Though the cause of Carrey's depression was never disclosed, he generously shared with us a realization during the time he was depressed. He taught us that it is pointless to spend our whole lives creating and curating some specific identity for ourselves. He shares that instead of trying to prove ourselves to other people, we should live life as how we want it. He admitted that suffering from depression is difficult, but there is something we can do. We can find freedom by stopping to pretend to be someone we are not. Jim Carrey is someone with profound thoughts about life. He says that the antidote to this suffering is to let go of the desire to be someone. It means that we have to focus less on maintaining an image or facade for other people and just be who we truly are. Carrey encourages us to let go of whatever identities we've worked so hard to create for the sake of other people and instead live with an open heart. When asked about his depression, he likened it to the rain. He described depression as rain that comes and goes, but does not stay long enough to drown him. This is a good take on depression. We can view it as something that may weigh us down from time to time, but we should not let it drown us. Carrey revealed that he eventually found healing through finding spirituality and making lifestyle changes. And along with this revelation, he reminds us that waves of sadness and depression may come into our lives, but we should not let it be something that hinders us from living a good life. Jim Carrey is a Hollywood icon, but there is more to him than his status in movies. When asked about his beliefs, he says he draws his strength from the spiritual part of his life. Interestingly, though, he does not conform to a single religion. He says that what he has is faith, not religion, as he does not stick to one God. He believes in Buddha, Krishna, Jesus, and many more religious figures. But he does not stick to one, because there is one concept he believes is truly important.
It all comes down to the same thing. You're in a loving place or you're in an unloving place. If you're with me right now, we cannot be unhappy. That's not possible.
His spiritual beliefs are both personal and mystical. He believes in miracles, saying that he has his life and career as concrete proof of miracles. Since Jim became a spiritual person, he was judged by many people. But Jim remained unbothered by other people's opinions and chose to follow his beliefs and where they will take him. Jim Carrey also has some fascinating takes on human existence. Even as a little kid, he said he already began to think and wonder about the meaning of life. He mentioned a variety of opinions on human existence, and these statements from him were not well received by the media, as it was seen as overwhelmingly existential. But if you try to understand it in relation to Jim's psyche, his honest opinion aligns closely with his general belief in life. He believes that life should transcend personal God and theology. He believes that finding meaning in something limitless is impossible, and maybe that is what Jim is trying to tell us. In relation to his beliefs, the actor has opened up on his theories of life, and he believes that Jim Carrey was an idea given to him by his parents. He says that he is not a real person, but merely an idea. He expressed this by saying that as an actor, he was asked to play characters, and along the way, he realized that his own personal character was pretty thin. During his time playing these characters, he realized that his personal identity as Jim Carrey does not actually exist. He continued to share how he views himself as a manifestation of a clustered consciousness. He believed he was simply given a name, religion, nationality, and personality to live by. Carrey views himself as an avatar, a compilation of the things he was told he was. He says he is simply an idea. Jim Carrey says he isn't an actor and that he doesn't even exist.
I don't exist. So they're all characters that I played. Jim Carrey was a less intentional character,
Right.
because I thought I was just building something that people would like, but it was a character.
Interestingly, this personal reflection of Jim sounds quite similar to the experiences of the character he played, Truman Burbank from The Truman Show.
I act because I'm broken in a lot of pieces, and acting gives me a chance to reconfigure those pieces into 1,000 different things that are positive for people to watch.
The characters Jim Carrey played throughout his career were all interesting. He is well known for his characters in The Truman Show, The Mask, and more remarkable. films. These characters led him to have existential thoughts that eventually led to an also interesting epiphany, a realization that he was not Jim Carrey anymore. He shared that we are more than avatars and pictures. Instead, we are the light that shines through it. Carrey encourages us to recognize that we are playing an avatar, that we should stop being mere characters and instead focus on living in the present, to start living as we are. Maybe Jim had these personal reflections when he was playing these movie characters, and he started to find it difficult to separate the characters from himself. Jim believes that people become depressed because they're trying to live up to their fake avatar or character they're trying to play. He says that the more we can detach from the characters we try to play, the happier we'll be. His words speak a lot of truth, and dismissing his ideas would be undermining his innate brilliance. When we think about celebrities and other big personalities, the first thing we are interested in is knowing the secret behind their success. We want to have a peek at what made them the person they are now. We want to know what motivates them and pushes them to be better. We are lucky because Jim Carrey openly shares how he got to this point of success. He believes in and advocates for the law of attraction. He encourages people to relax and dream up a good life. Jim wants us to look at his life and let it serve as living proof that when we ask the universe for something, we can have it. He revealed that as a struggling actor, he would use visualization techniques and visualize himself getting the opportunities he wanted. He also stated that he visualized a $10 million check given to him for acting services rendered. It may seem like a far-fetched vision, but 7 years later, he eventually received a $10 million check for his role in Dumb and Dumber as a fulfillment of his vision.
You visualize yourself like... Visualization works if you work hard.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing. You can't just visualize and then, go eat a sandwich.
We can learn from his life that intently believing that good things will happen eventually opens doors of opportunities. Jim teaches us that focusing on positive thoughts brings positive experiences into life. Furthermore, he encourages people to believe that life is not simply happening to us. happening for us. Despite his brilliance, Jim Carrey was labeled as bizarre by the media based on his views and opinions. People are even questioning his mental stability. What people don't seem to understand is how Jim is simply woke. He is highly aware and actively attentive to various things in life that most people don't pay attention to. He isn't crazy, he's just woke. Most people won't view him as an intellectual person, but that isn't the truth. He is highly intelligent, and this makes some of his statements beyond the mental capacity of normal people. If we take the time to understand him, we can learn a lot, and can conclude that Jim Carrey is simply ahead of his time. We talked about the life of Jim Carrey, and we saw how he went through a lot of struggles, but he came out of them stronger and more aware of certain issues involving life, depression, and spirituality. With that said, we can take home a lot of lessons from Jim's life story. He says that depression is not something that can be healed with drugs, alcohol, food, or money. These things are temporary distractions and do not solve your actual problems. Like in the life of Jim Carrey, he learned that the process of healing is brought about by fulfilling our spiritual longing. It is not confined to a specific religion, but it is more about connecting to your spirituality and being content with what you have and who you are at present.
It's what's happening right now inside everybody is they're going, who am I? And they're depressed.
You may be in a tough spot right now, but believe that you can overcome it. Sadness should not be the end of you, and success should not be measured by how people view you. It should be how you personally feel about yourself and healing your relationship with your inner being. It would be also helpful to live in the present and practice mindfulness. We always tend to overthink our past and future and forget to live in the moment. Like Jim, we should focus on the good things, and eventually, good things will come to us. If there's a single thing we should remember from the woke life of Jim Carrey, it's that no matter what life puts you through, you should always believe
you are ready and able to do beautiful things in this world.